Alright, so today I'm going to talk about Egyptian mathematics. When we talk about mathematics, we talk about Egypt. So when we talk about civilization, we talk about Egypt. When we talk about literacy, we talk about Egypt. When we talk about anything else, we talk about Egypt. When we talk about cradle of civilization, we talk about Egypt. Alright, so Egyptian civilization, in fact, is the longest civilization in the history of the world. When we are talking about America, one thing comes to our mind: power. But how long America have been powerful since World War II, right? When we talk about Great Britain, one thing comes to our mind: power. But how long the Great Britain been powerful? Not long, 300 years, 400 years. When we are talking about Egypt, what comes to our mind? Many things, not only power, but also mathematics, civilization, literacy, astronomy, but most importantly, pyramid, which is a byproduct of mathematics. And Egyptian civilization lasted 3,000 years. 3,000 years. So, Egyptian civilization lasted how long? 3,000 years. Not only 100 years, 200 years, 300 years now. 3,000 years. So, it started along the Nile River. So from northern Nile River to all the way southern Nile River. Northern Nile River started from Syria to all the way southern Nile River, ended with North Sudan. Okay, so this civilization, the Egyptian civilization, actually at the beginning there was no Egyptian empire. It was like city-state, a small city-state along the Nile River. You know, the Nile River was divided into two parts: the downstream and upstream. The downstream consists of the northern cities, and upstream consists of the southern cities. But at some point, all the city-state realized that they have something common, and that is a shared goal, and that is like prosperity, and that is like the shared goal is like advancing, working together to advancing, especially using mathematics. So that shared goal put them together, creating Egyptian empire that lasted 3,000 years, dividing in three parts. The first part is the old, the second part is the middle, and the third part is the new. Okay, so this Egyptian empire, this 3,000 longest lasting empire in the history of mankind, served by more or less 300 pharaohs. So when we talk about pharaohs, we really learn a lot about pharaohs from the Hebrew Bible. Okay, when Musa, when Moses had a covenant with God, the God asked Moses to leave the Israel and to go to Canaan, and then when there was a drought in Canaan, he had to migrate to. Oh, it was Abraham, and then later Musa, right? It was Abraham. So Abraham and his wife Sarah migrated to Egypt, and their ancestor, one of their great ancestors, was Moses, who was born in, who was like at that time the Pharaoh in Egypt. Made a declaration that all the Jewish people, especially the Jewish male child, should be drowned in Nile River or killed immediately. All right. So Moses was born in the Jewish family. So Moses' mother put Moses on the boat and left him on a Nile River, found by Pharaoh's sister. he was born in a Jewish family, but he raised in Pharaoh's family. All right. Now, we learn a lot about Pharaohs from Hebrew Bible. We also learn about Pharaohs from Quran as well. Now, let's move it to the story from religion. Let leave the religion alone. Let's go to the history. And from history, we're going to go to the mathematics directly. So, Pharaohs we talk about 300 Pharaohs. Some of them were good and some of them were as notorious as you can imagine.
Genghis Khan?
Genghis Khan was not Pharaohs.
Like Genghis Khan, like him?
I don't like him. He killed more people than, well, only Hitler killed more people than Genghis Khan. But we are not talking about Genghis Khan now. We are talking about Pharaohs. Now, Pharaohs in Egypt, Pharaohs means a protractor. Some of the Pharaohs were actually women. Some of the Pharaohs, I said, were good. But the belief system was a little different. People thought Pharaohs were like making connection between them and hundreds of gods they worship. And Egyptians also believed that when Pharaohs die, they become God. So the number of God increases because if you are Pharaoh, you die, you become God. So that's why they wanted to preserve the body of Pharaohs after they die, because after life they become God.
On the pyramid.
So then they had to think, they had to use the math. And because they wanted to preserve the body of Pharaohs, because Pharaohs are actually God. So they invent pyramid. They invent cubit, a sophisticated measurement system that allow them to create the pyramid that lasts over 4,000 years. Even that survived. Even if you go to Egypt now, you will see pyramid. So why did they why did they build pyramid? They built pyramid because the Pharaohs, when they die, they become God. They wanted to preserve the body of the God. That's why they had to build the pyramid. And that was the math in action. They invented the cubit system. It's a very sophisticated mathematics, which I'll show you. I'll show you in a few seconds. Also, Egyptians are credited to for multiplication. It's a little different multiplication, but I'll show you in a second. So, Egyptians also divided the day in 24 parts.
Like 24 hours?
24 hours a day. Who do you think that come from? Egypt. And Egypt also used their sophisticated mathematics to understand the astronomy. And who do you think who made the solar calendar? 365 days a year. Egyptian. You think everything came from America and England? That's not true. The cradle of civilization. Yesterday we talked about civilization started in where? Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is in today's Iraq. Syria? It's like the cradle of civilization became what? The hub of terrorists. When we talk about Iraq, one thing should ring a bell in our ear, that is mathematics. But the bombs, because the Islamic State terrorists. But they were actually pioneers of mathematics. Now then it shifted to where? Egypt, because the Persian invaded the Babylons. The Egypt were mighty. Mighty for how long? 3,000 years. 3,000 years. That's like half of the time the Homo sapien exists. Jesus.
Homo sapien existed for 12,000 years, so actually 1/4.
Yeah, I mean, you know, so those are like my personal opinion. Of course, I'm biased. My personal opinions is Homo sapien existed since the invention of Ishango bones. Do you still remember the Ishango bones?
Yeah, Babylonian.
Not Babylonians, Africans.
Oh.
Africans. 33,000 years ago. Okay.
Okay.
Ishango bones, and Ishango bones was the first application of mathematics. Then we talk about Babylons. Now today we talk about Egyptian math. Okay, so without further ado, also Egyptian are credited for inventing the sophisticated language system. All right, hieroglyph.
Hieroglyphics.
Hieroglyphics. And now let's show you how Egyptian did the multiplication. Okay, are you guys ready to see the multiplication?
Yeah.
Who don't tell me what is 25 times 32. Don't tell me what is 25 times 32. I know you know how to do it, but 3,000, about 5,000 years ago, how did Egyptian do that? That's kind of like surprising.
Kalima.
That's kind of surprising. So they would divide it in column. Okay, they would divide it in column. This is the column number 1. This is the column number 2. They would first write 1, and they would double it. So what is the double of 1?
2.
And they double it.
4.
And they double it.
8.
And they double it.
16.
And they stop doubling it. Why?
Then it would be bigger than.
Bigger than 25. Now then they go over here. They write 32. And they double it. They double it. They're gonna double it. Keep doubling it. How many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Okay.
So what is the double of
64.
64?
128.
128.
256.
256.
512.
512. Well, should I double it anymore?
No.
No. Now we have to add. We have to add. We have to find numbers whose sum is 25. So whose number? What number will give us the sum of 25?
8, 16, and 1.
Good. 1, 8, and 16.
Okay.
So we have to select the number aligned with that sum. And then we have to write them. 32. And then what? 256. And then 5, 12. And then we have to add them.
Okay.
8 plus 2,
10.
4, 9,
10. 8.
800. So guess what? 25 times 32 is 800. That's how people in Egypt 5,000 years ago did the multiplication. Next time we're going to talk about the cubit, because they use cubit to build pyramid. Big deal. Something that still exists. So you look at the pyramid and one thing comes to your mind. How did people 5,000 years ago did build pyramid? What are they doing right now? Killing people. What did they do 5,000 years ago? Applying mathematics to build pyramid. These same people, what are they doing right now? Bombing and killing each other. Alright, I have to stop. Alright.
Subscribe to Bari Science Lab to fall in love with math and science, especially programming.